Hey, everybody, it is Trags, Mike Petralia, back with the latest installment of the Jungle Roar podcast here on the CLNS Media Network and powered by our good friends at Prize Picks and All Good Home Improvement. Back with me on this season preview, previewing, of course, the season opener this Sunday in Cleveland against the Browns, is the one and only Dave Lapham. He, of course, is the analyst for Bengals coverage on the Bengals radio network, along with Dan Hord. And he is also one of the newest members of the Bengals Ring of Honor. That will, of course, take place later this season. Lap, I'm very happy for you, and I'm sure it's a very proud distinction for you.
Trags, I appreciate that. Thank you. You're very kind. It means a lot to me. And yeah, it's mind-boggling and totally unexpected. And I guess it's a longevity award. 40 years in the broadcast booth. When I take the microphone for the opener this season, that'll be the 40th opener to start a season, and 10 as a player, so 50 years total. I think that's probably a big factor in the selection to the Ring of Honor that you so kindly referenced earlier. That is another thing that just is way beyond my comprehension. There are so many great players, coaches that have played and coached for the Cincinnati Bengals that it's going to take a while to catch up to all the guys that belong in that Ring of Honor. So to be included in the first 12 to go into the Ring of Honor, myself and Lamar Parrish will be 11 and 12. That is a very, very, very I don't know how to put it. I guess I'm at a loss for words. I mean, it's an honor that I take seriously, to say the least. It's something very, very special to me and my family.
All right. Certainly you played for Paul Brown. You were drafted by Paul Brown in 1974, and you knew what it meant to him to play and, more importantly, beat the Cleveland Browns, the team that the Bengals will once again be opening the season against this Sunday in Cleveland. And there's been so much talk, Lap, about a quick start this season, getting out of the gates fast and not falling behind teams like Baltimore and Pittsburgh in the division. And even back then, when Paul Brown was telling you about the importance of the schedule, importance about giving your best every day, was there a little bit more to beating the Browns for him?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, anytime that Paul Brown could put it to Art Modell and beat Art Modell or beat the team that Art Modell owned, in this particular instance, Paul Brown was all in. Paul Brown was exceptionally competitive. I mean, and if you crossed Paul Brown in his eyes, in his mind, if you did something that he felt shouldn't have been done, he had a long memory for it. He didn't forget. And he talked about that. He talked about how he knew he had a long memory for injustices, as if he felt that was the case, that he had been treated wrongly. And he was going to do everything he possibly could to even the score, as he put it. I talked about evening the score very, very frequently. And every time, anytime, really, that we beat the Cleveland Browns with Art Modell as the owner, Paul Brown looked at it as, getting closer to evening the score.
Yep.
That when he got fired, let go there, that devastated him. He was embarrassed. He was embarrassed for himself, embarrassed for his family. It was his team. I mean, it was named after the Cleveland Browns. It's because of Paul Brown. They're named Browns are because of Paul Brown. And he could not come to grips with it, could not come to terms with it. It was too big for his mind to comprehend, to wrap around. He never forgot it. I know that for a fact. And Modell was one of his least favorite people. He told me that many times. I've got a few people in this world that have not done me right, and they are on my least favorite people list. And the list is topped by Art Modell, and I wasn't surprised.
No, I don't think any Bengal fan should be surprised by that. But we are in modern day 2025 Bengals. And the key for this Bengals team, I think, to beat the Browns is to win in the trenches. And it starts, obviously, with not letting Myles Garrett destroy what Joe Burrow and Dan Pitcher and Zach Taylor want to do offensively. That, to me, is probably the key to the game. You don't let their big players destroy the game up front, and you should come out of Cleveland with a win. A couple of years ago, and a lot of people are going to bring this up this week, and I think they probably should, but it's different. Joe Burrow is not coming off a significant calf strain like he was in 2023. He obviously, Lap, you remember that game in the rain. He didn't have mobility. Right. And the rain only added to the fact that I think he was a little bit more cautious about moving on a wet turf. I don't think that's going to be the case this Sunday. And I think the Bengals are much more suited to attack Cleveland because they have a running game. And I think more importantly, Lap, and you as an offensive lineman can address this. I think they're more committed to running the ball, complementing what Burrow does through the air.
I agree with you, Trags. And honestly, Cleveland Browns are going to try to run the football. I mean, they're going to try to run it down the Bengals' throats. They can run the football. They're capable of running the football. They're capable of putting up a big game running the football. Their offensive line is a good run-blocking offensive line. When you throw tape on of the Cleveland Browns running game, very, very impressive. And they do different things, different personnel groupings, different motion, different formations. They give you a lot. They put a lot on your plate. So you have to prepare both mentally, so you don't align improperly and make mistakes before the ball's even snapped. You have to avoid mental error after the ball is snapped. And then physically, you have to, be sharp as well as the mental part of it. Physically, you have to come downhill, take on blockers, shed those blockers, and tackle. I think that is the biggest thing, tackling. I mean, I don't want to see breaking tackle after tackle after tackle and gaining yards after first contact. It's Al Golden has his 4 defensive principles. Ball disruption. That's going to be big in this football game. Can you knock the ball loose? Can you force fumbles? Can you intercept the football? Can you protect the football on the other side of things? Can you make sure that you keep that ball high and tight and you never put it in jeopardy? You never let it leave your grasp and end up on the ground. And then effort. The second is it's ball disruption, effort, situational masters, and tackling. And in my mind, I put another T in there, turnovers, a couple of T's. But, effort, you shouldn't even have to talk about that. It's Cleveland. It's Cleveland week. Are you kidding me? Cleveland week to start the season. I mean, to start the season gets the juices flowing. Add Cleveland week to it. Woo. I mean, in my mind, the only thing that you have to make sure you don't fall into a trap about is being too excited, being overly ambitious. It's like, I want to make a play. I got to make a play. I got to go make a play now. Just let the game happen. Let the game come to you. Do what you're supposed to do. Do it as well as you possibly can at the highest level you possibly can, and everything will be fine. And then situational masters, we're talking, third down, we're talking field position, things of that nature. If you can win those type of things, if you can win the third down battle by a significant percentage differential, that's huge. That's big time. Your defense, if you can keep the opponent defense on the football field for as many snaps you possibly can by converting third downs and getting extra series and snaps to run, that's big. And then if your defense can 1, 2, 3 and out multiple times, get off the field, get the ball back to you offensively, that stuff is very big. So that's obviously a factor. And then tackling is self-explanatory. And then also, like you were mentioning, you can't let Myles Garrett disrupt the football game. Don't let him run away and hide with time of possession, run away and hide with the football. And then don't let Myles Garrett not give you any opportunity to get your offense in gear. Myles Garrett can be a game wrecker, absolute game wrecker. There's no question about it. He is a sack waiting to happen. He He's one of the best pass rushers that I've ever seen. He's one of the best in the National Football League right now. There's no question about that. He's definitely in the top 3, maybe in the top 2. I mean, Trey Hendrickson and Myles Garrett, those two are going to be like, all right, okay, man, who's going to put on the better performance today? Who's going to get off the ball? Who's going to make plays both in the run game and rushing the passer? Stop the run so I can then go ahead and turn it on and rush the passer. Who's going to be able to get that done? Whose teammates are going to also assist in that battle and make sure that they take care of their business? I mean, it is going to be an interesting football game in the trenches, in the pits. And the Bengals have done a much better job of bolstering the guard position and the defensive tackle position than what they put on the football field last year. Now, the 2 young defensive tackles are going to be taking a bunch of snaps again this year, but they're a year older and wiser. And they've taken a lot more snaps than they did before they lined up against the Cleveland Browns for the first time last year. So, they did play them twice. They know what they're looking at. If the Bengals can up the ante in terms of performance and getting significant snaps, good snaps, out of their guards and out of their defensive tackles, I think they have a good shot in this football game, Trags.
Tell me why, Lap, that Bengal fans should not be overly concerned and they should not overreact to the explosive runs they gave up in the preseason to Philadelphia and Washington. Why?
Trags, you hit something. It's hard to do. As a Bengals fan, that's why it's hard to say, you know what? They got their asses kicked. That thing went for 35. But, it's preseason. Doesn't mean anything, regular season, they're going to kick Chubb's ass. I mean, that 35-yard run against Cleveland is going to be a 1-yard loss. That's hard to kind of wrap your brain around, I mean, it sounds almost ludicrous to throw it out there. But you on a snap-by-snap basis, every snap is different. Every snap, has a different potential outcome. And like I said, defensively, I have a lot of confidence in what Al Golden is going to do for this defense this year. But he has been, you talk about elementary, you talk about simple, you talk about basic. I mean, his defense has been all of that. He has not shown one iota, one lick of what everybody thinks he's going to do against the Cleveland Browns. So, buckle his seatbelt, tighten that chin strap up, double chin strap, and get ready because it's going to be interesting when the Bengals go up there to Cleveland. Get on the road, go to Cleveland for the Battle of Ohio. That's right, Battle of Ohio. That's what it's called. That's what it'll always be called. The Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals, a lot of pride in that. They want to own the state of Ohio and, got to win both football games when they go up against each other to get that done.
Speaking with one of the most passionate, if not the most passionate Bengal fan there's ever been, Dave Lapham, color analyst, along with Dan Horde on the Bengals Radio Network. This episode of the Jungle Roar podcast brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. What about this week? Saquon Barkley going up against the Dallas Cowboys. Does he get run for more or less than one rushing touchdown? Joe Burrow, obviously going up against the Browns. Does he have more or less than 2.5 passing touchdowns? And Josh Allen against the Baltimore Ravens, more or less than 270 passing yards. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in. Prize Picks also offers injury reboots. What are injury reboots? Well, if one of your players leaves the game in the first half and does not return, Prize Picks won't count it as a loss. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. It's also good to have Dave Lapham on this season opening edition of the Jungle Roar podcast. And Lap, for those who don't know, you go out to practice every day. You are at every single practice. And I love watching you on your golf cart on the sideline, but I especially love watching you watch offensive linemen. And you know what I was thinking to myself last week, Lap? When Lap watches offensive linemen do their drills, even before team periods, what is Lap watching? What is Lap thinking of these guys going through drills? So I have the opportunity to ask you, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm thinking, watching how gifted they are, a lot of the things they do pre-practice, like you're talking about, Trags, is just working on techniques and fundamentals that they're going to be able to carry with them and apply to the game, from the practice field to the game. And they do it over and over and over again every single day before practice. That's their routine. That's their protocol as such. And muscle memory. I mean, it's every single day, the same thing, mentally and physically, just getting it, burned into your brain mentally and having the muscle memory physically to be able to go out and do what you need to do to get guys blocked. And then I look at the size of some of these guys, it's like, oh my God, man. I'll stand around and watch those guys and say, how is that big son of a gun moving as fluidly and effortlessly as he is? And he is so smooth out there and so athletic. I mean, Orlando Brown and Amarius Mims are giants. I mean, they are massive human beings. And for them to go out there on a daily basis and go through their drills and fundamentals and techniques, that they want employed at the tackle position that Scott Peters wants to have done, it's impressive to watch. And Scott Peters is very impressive to watch. Here's the guy that played in the NFL, coached in the NFL, Cleveland Browns. I mean, he knows, he's got a book on all these guys. He knows exactly what's going on with the Cleveland Browns and what their defensive front is going to present to the Cincinnati Bengals. And like I said, the team that wins in the trenches, I think, is going to get a big leg up in this football game. And I think that Scott Peters feels like he's got some advantages at that tackle position, working in matchups against the edge players, the Cleveland Browns. Myles Garrett's obviously a great player. That probably would be an even Steven, push and pull on that particular matchup. But others, I mean, Ted Karras, captain, big effort guy, very physical, played a lot of ball, man, a lot of football, loves the game, passionate about the game. Nobody cares more about the game of football than Ted Karras. The guards, who's going to line up at right and left guard? That, to me, is one of the big keys in the football game. That's going to be a big thing to watch. Who lines up and how do they perform? Once the decision is made, what player they're going to put in there at the guard position, watch that. If you're a fan watching the game on television, or if you're there, you travel up to Cleveland, you're watching in person, if you got binoculars or whatever, and you're in those stands, kind of every once in a while, or as much as you want, zero in on that guard play and watch what's going on in the interior. They'll be working against defensive tackles. Cleveland's got a very good front. They have a four-man front, and they'll move it. They go over and under. They'll cover the center and line up more guys away from the tight end, sometimes more guys to the tight end. So they'll line up in different configurations defensively based on formations and motion and all that sort of thing. So it's going to be interesting. That chess match is going to be, in my mind, what wins the football game. The trenches. Bengals offensive line against Cleveland's defensive line. And the opposite. What will the Bengals defensive line be able to do against the Cleveland Browns offensive line? Will they be able to win the battle on a snap-by-snap basis? Will they be able to take it to the Cleveland Browns from a physical standpoint? Will they be able to penetrate and some tackles for loss? Make the running back make his first cut in his own backfield. If you see that happening, one team's running back making the first cut in his own backfield, as opposed to the other running back making his first cut 2 or 3 yards down the football field, you'll know who's winning the football game.
Dylan Fairchild, somebody who has really stood out to me, Lap, as a rookie out of Georgia. And, when I watch him, he's a big, massive human being who seems like he doesn't get pushed around at a position you played back on the 1981 AFC champion Bengals, left guard. What is it about, from your perspective, somebody who played the position, what is it about Dylan Fairchild as a rookie that has impressed you to this point?
Just about everything, Trags. I mean, this guy he's very, very gifted. He's been blessed. The good Lord, tapped his head for football smarts, football IQ, overall intelligence, and then he tapped his shoulders, for football acumen physically. This guy, like you said, big dude, Trags. I mean, big dude, broad. I mean, very wide-shouldered, man. And watching him, I like to watch him when I'm out there watching the offensive line in the golf cart. Like pre-practice and during practice. He's very, very athletic. He can bend. I mean, he bends at the knees. He doesn't bend at his waist. He doesn't bend over, and then be very straight-legged. That's not a good foundation. You're going to be tossed around. That's not happening. I mean, he's hunkering down, man. He's bending his at the knees, getting his weight distributed properly. And this guy, he's hard to move, and he can move people on his end of things. So he's a tremendous pass protector. He played at Georgia. He's been coached at a very high level. He's been taught the game of football very, very soundly. His techniques and fundamentals are impeccable. And I think he's going to have an unbelievable rookie season. He's got long arms, long enough for sure, very strong hands. He'll put his hands right in your chest, in the middle of your body, and in pass protection and jam you, use that two-handed jam and stun you and stop you in your pass protection, make you restart. By the time you restart, it's too late. Joe Burrow and other quarterbacks will have the football out of their hand and down the football field doing damage. He's been coached at a very high level when he was in college. In the SEC at Georgia, competed at and coached at the highest level. And he has brought that to the National Football League. And he is a very, very impressive young football player, a physical stud that has the mental capacity and mindset to be an outstanding football player. Not just good, outstanding.
All right, he is Dave Lapham, provides the color commentary along with Dan Horde on the Bengals radio network. I want to tell you about All Good. All Good has been helping homeowners for 32 years when looking for a home improvement company. The number one quality they are looking for is trust. For the last 32 years, All Good has been trusted to help homeowners like yours truly replace their windows, install new vinyl siding, install new gutters, and professionally install a new roof. All Good offers interest-free financing, and with payments starting at just $99 a month and no money down. All of All Good's products are professionally installed and backed by both a material and labor warranty. Right now, All Good is offering a 50% off sale or buy one, get one free. For more details and to schedule a free in-home consultation, you can call 513-247-2900. That's 513-247-2900, or go to myallgoodhome.com. We're wrapping it up here with Dave Lapham of the Bengals Radio Network. Lap, a lot of talk has been made of Dalton Risner, what the Bengals needed to do in the offseason to bring in a veteran, another veteran guard, in addition to what they did in the draft with Dylan Fairchild. Your thoughts on Lucas Patrick, who probably will get the start at right guard, and Dalton Risner, and even if you want to throw Cody Ford in there. Bengals seem like they're in a much better position in terms of protecting Joe Burrow with depth, number of quality offensive linemen than they have been in years past.
I agree with you 100,000%, Trags, and that's intentional. I mean, they know that they have to protect Joe Burrow at all costs. They know that he is the key to their season. If they lose Joe Burrow, the hopes and dreams for a formidable year diminish greatly. So they have to keep him upright. And the guys that they brought in that you described and the names that the roll call you gave there, it's impressive. Watching all of them work and how they've adapted and adjusted to the techniques that Scott Peters is teaching. He's very specific with what he wants from his footwork and his hand placement, and very disciplined in terms of the way he wants football to be played. And these guys are responding to it, and they're responding very, very well and very, very quickly. They have much more roster depth at the guard position than they've had in I don't know how many years, really. I mean, it's been a while. So I think that, they're going to have good starters. There's no question about it. They're going to have people that are capable of getting the job done. They're going to start the football game up in Cleveland. But if they do, God forbid, have some sort of a misfortune in terms of injury, hopefully it's just a nick or a bump. If that's the case, somebody else will be able to go in there and perform at a high level. It won't fall off. It will fall off the face of the earth. They'll still be able to play and execute and get it done. So I like what they've done in the offensive line. I think it was totally necessary. There's no question about that. They knew they had to do it. Everybody else knew they had to do it. It was no secret. And they went out and they did it. I think that through the draft and through free agency, they have made the interior of the Bengals offensive line much, much better.
Well, and I want to finish up on this. Bengals announcing their team captains for 2025. And offensively, you have Joe Burrow, you have Orlando Brown Jr., and you have Ted Karras. And in terms of Jamar Chase, Trey Hendrickson, they are no-brainers. BJ Hill and Logan Wilson. Your thoughts on how the Bengals went about the team captains and the leadership overall on this team this year?
Yeah, I think that the Bengals did a good job. I think Zach Taylor looks at the role of captain as a significant one. It's not just we have to have captains. I know they're not really going to have a voice, though. They're not going to have much say in what we do. This is a dictatorship. This isn't a democracy. And captains, it's just a bunch of hot air. That's not how Zach Taylor approaches it. Zach Taylor looks at it as the football team is the players' team. And the coaches, the coaches help organize it and then give it direction. And that's the coach's responsibility. The players have to take ownership of the football team. The players have to have a sense of pride, a sense of responsibility, a sense of going out and getting it done at an extremely high level and taking pride and having respect for each other. All of those things are equally important to a successful season. And I think every single person that was elected captain deserved it. I think the Bengals find themselves in a pretty good situation organizationally because they have multiple players that you could say should be a captain.
Yes.
And they're very, very lucky that way. There's no doubt. So I think Zach does a pretty good job of, hey, you know what? If this is the number, a lot of coaches like we're electing one captain offensively, one captain defensively, and maybe a special teams captain. And I think it's just an offensive and a defensive captain. That might have been the way it was done back in the day. Not anymore. And every single player that has been elected captain understands that there's a big responsibility that comes with that. And that's taking care of yourself mentally and physically, taking care of your body, getting proper rest, getting proper diet, proper food in your system, all of those kind of things. And they're examples. They're examples to other players. And usually the captains have a few years experience. And that's the case in most instances of the captains this year with the Cincinnati Bengals. So I think they're fortunate. I think the Cincinnati Bengals realize that they've got a football team of high character. The players are extremely unified. They're close. They care about each other. All of those things are good things as you embark on a new season. I think this football team has good leadership, and I think they're all going to perform at a very high level. I really do.
I just think it was fascinating on Monday to hear players talk about Jamar Chase because Jamar Chase is an exceptionally gifted athlete and performer. Yep. We've all seen that over the course of his career. But the fact that so many players in that locker room look up to Jamar as someone who can not only perform but lead stands out to me. So, again, you have 7 captains on the Cincinnati Bengals: Burrow, Orlando Brown Jr., Ted Karras. Joining them are Jamar Chase, Trey Hendrickson, BJ Hill, and Logan Wilson. I cannot tell you enough, Lap, how much I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you're studying up, as the players are as well, trying to get ready for Sunday's season opener in Cleveland. And as somebody who grew up in this town and followed the Bengals in the 70s, it's always a treat talking to you. And I'm very, very happy for you and Leap and Lamar getting into the Ring of Honor on October 26th. I think it's going to be an incredible day when the Bengals play the Jets. Hopefully the Bengals can come out with a win and make it an even more special day for you. But you deserve so much because, like Mike Brown said, you have given so much of your time and energy to the team. It's just wonderful that you're being honored this year. So congratulations, Lap.
Trags, I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. You're a pro's pro. You work hard at your job. I know you take a lot of pride in what you do, and you do it exceptionally well. That's what I try to do. Also, is if you're going to do it, you're going to do a job. Do it to the best of your ability. That's what I was taught by my parents. That's what I was taught by my coaches. I love the game of football. It's been my lifelong dream to be involved in the game of football for as long as I possibly could, and I've been fortunate to be at it and after it for a good period of time. But this Ring of Honor, it is way beyond my ability to grasp it. It really is. Mentally, I can't get my brain around it. But I feel blessed. I feel honored. And Trags, I appreciate you. I consider you somebody that's a good friend in the media, and for you to say the kind things you said about me, that's greatly appreciated, my man.
You got it, Lap. Anytime. Well, I'm going to let you go because I know you're, as I said, getting ready for the Cleveland Browns this Sunday at up in Cleveland. It'll be an interesting day for the Bengals, to be sure. Can they finally get off the schneid and win their season opener for the first time since 2021? We'll find out. Of course, Dave Lapham and Dan Horde will have the call on the Bengals radio network. For Dave Lapham and our great partners at Prize Picks and All Good Home Improvements, my name is Mike Petralia, Trags. Thanks for downloading this episode of the Jungle Roar podcast. And until next time, keep that jungle roaring.